Hello and welcome to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. My name is Issachar Bey, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in on this great Sunday afternoon. No matter where you are across the globe, we want to thank you for tuning in. Um, those of you, if this is your first time, I am Issachar Bey. I am the founder and senior director of the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. And for the last weeks behind us, as well as the weeks that are going to be remaining in front of us, we are in the midst of our series entitled Mental Resurrection, Awakening the Mental Alchemist Within. And in this series right here that we're dealing with the 9 levels of mental ascension. And, want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to definitely launch in and definitely get a hold of this good teaching and embrace this wisdom that we're giving out. If this is your first time listening, could you please let us know where you're listening from in the chat, in the comment area. Go ahead and put in your state, city, or even your country that you are tuning in from. Let us know where you are, and let us know your name as well. I also want to thank all of you for your support. You guys have been sharing. We have a lot more listeners, seems like a lot more followers, a lot more subscribers. So it does seem like the information that we are releasing is being beneficial. It's actually helping a lot of people. A lot of people are loving the energy. They're loving the knowledge, the wisdom that they're getting. They're loving the teachings. So I just want to make that available to you guys. We want to also thank you for your financial donations, your seeds, those of you who are sowing into this ministry and sowing into this community. We want to thank you for your financial help. We do not take it for granted, and we do not take it lightly, for we know that as a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And so we are standing with you in 100% admiration and commitment that you will be able to magnetize and create the life and the experience that you want to create. It is our goal that these teachings will expand your mind, so that once your mind expands, it can never go back to its original form. And it's also our intent that as you excel and move and begin to increase and elevate and really embrace your elevation and your evolution, that you understand your purpose and your destiny in life. These teachings are not mere teachings to make you feel good. These are not teachings to give you a ooh or wow or display something to you that will make you feel overwhelmed. But these teachings are to bring you back to remembrance of the powers that you already have within you. We're not teaching you anything new. We're not telling you anything new. We're only bringing you to remembrance of that which was already given to you. And so we want to thank all of you for being a part of that. I have a lot that I do want to cover today, and I want to get into that. So let's get ready to get into our spiritual mind treatment. We do this so that we can stay centered, so that we can stay connected to divine, to the source, to divine mind, and that we can stay locked in. Something about being centered, something that allows us to put ourselves in a place of release, in a place of stillness, where we can really tap in and really get what it is that we need. For these teachings, what's amazing about this is week after week, week after week, week after week, everybody who's listening to these teachings, we're all on different levels. And so no matter how basic, no matter how maybe the novice who is listening, somebody who's just coming into this, it doesn't matter how elevated or how advanced you are, everybody can walk away with something that will stretch them and will allow them to go to the next level, the next dimension of their walk, of their journey. And so that's what's so great about this knowledge and wisdom. As we get ready to go into our spiritual mind treatment, let us take a breath, inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. In this sacred moment of divine attunement, I open my heart and mind to the infinite wisdom of the universe, the eternal source of all creation. I recognize the divine presence within and around me, guiding me on the path of mental ascension to level 5 as a spiritual alchemist. I affirm and declare the truth of mental ascension, a journey of transformation and expansion that leads to higher states of consciousness and realization. As I delve into the energy of level 5, I embrace the qualities of change, adaptivity, freedom, versatility, and all that it embodies. I acknowledge that mental ascension is a dynamic process of evolution, inviting me to embrace change with grace and courage. I release any resistance to transformation and welcome the opportunities for growth and renewal that come with shifting perspectives and experiences. I trust in the divine flow of life and allow myself to adapt and evolve in alignment with my highest good. I recognize the freedom and flexibility that level 5 brings to my mental alchemy journey. I embrace the power to choose my thoughts, beliefs, and actions with conscious awareness, knowing that I have the ability to create my reality through the power of my mind. I affirm my freedom to explore new possibilities, expand my horizons, express my true essence in all the aspects of my being. As I walk the path of mental ascension, in connection with level 5, I embrace the spirit of adventure and discovery. I open myself to the infinite possibilities that lie beyond my current perceptions and limitations, allowing myself to explore uncharted territories of consciousness and creativity. I trust in the divine guidance that leads me towards new horizons and transformative experiences. I embody the essence of versatility and resourcefulness as I navigate the realms of mental alchemy. I recognize the divine aspects of my being and integrate them harmoniously to create a symphony of balance and wholeness. I embrace the multidimensional nature of existence and honor the richness of my inner world, knowing that I am limitless being with infinite potential. With gratitude and humility, I surrender to the divine intelligence that orchestrates the symphony of my life. I trust in the universal laws of abundance, harmony, and manifestation, knowing that I'm supported and guided on my path of mental ascension in the connection with level 5. I release this spiritual mind treatment into the infinite fields of possibility, knowing that it is already done. I affirm my commitment to mental ascension, embracing the transformative power of level 5 with faith and conviction. I am a spiritual alchemist, a visionary of change and expansion. I am free, adaptable, versatile in my thoughts and actions. I embrace the adventures of life with joy, courage, and open heartedness. And so it is, and so it is. Thank you for tuning in to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. Every Sunday we're here, same place, same time, every Sunday. Thank you so kindly for taking the time out of your busy schedules to tune in for this period of time. We are excited about where we are today. Last week we were on level 4, and we were able to talk about the organization, the prioritizing of picking what's important in our lives, what's what's the most important things in our lives, and we were prioritizing things and getting things in perspective and trying to organize our thoughts. And so this week we're stepping up another level, and we're going up to level 5. Now, level 5, it brings me to a place where if I had to come up with a title for today's teaching, the title would be Breaking the Walls of Limitation. Yes, because I want you guys to hear this. If you're listening to this, please type in the comments. Please type in the chat, in the comments. Put this in the comments. There is no limitation. That's right. I want you to type, there is no limitation. The only limitation you will ever experience in life, listen to me and hear me good, the only limitation you will ever experience in life is the limitation of your mind. There is no limitations. There's none. Today, it is my duty, it is my, I would say it is, I've been summoned to bring that truth to the forefront of showing you and allowing us to demonstrate that in its entirety. When I look at level 5 is a very interesting level, because when we get to level 5 of the mental levels of mental ascension, level 5 brings us into a place where we're now getting into a very delicate and a very serious place. When I see level 5, I think about the 5 senses. Yes, the 5 senses that we all have, which is the 5 senses of sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. The 5 senses. Now listen, the 5 senses, listen, hear me good. The 5 senses that you have are what allow you to face the limitations that we have in life. Remember, I said there is no such thing as a limitation. There are no limitations. The only limitation we will ever experience in life is the imitation or the limitation in our minds. Guess how the limitation gets in our mind? I'm glad that you asked that. Well, if limitations don't exist, and the only limitations that I ever experience in life are the limitations in my mind, how do those limitations get in my mind? I'm glad you asked. The limitations that you experience are created and entering into your mind by the 5 senses. Yes, by what you see, by what you hear, by what you taste, by what you touch, by what you smell. If you can block out your 5 senses, which we're going to learn today, if you can learn how to block out your 5 senses, you will be amazed at how much power you have and how you're able to break the walls of limitation. To break the walls of limitation, but understand this. When you get to level 5, this is why level 5 is, I believe, is such a very important level. Because if I can block out my 5 senses, then it allows me to become very dangerous, because what's going on the outside cannot deter me or not affect me of what's going on the inside. Now, we know that as within, so without, which means that we're all walking mirrors, right? We're all walking mirrors. And so whatever's going on in my physical life is a reflection of what's going on in my inner world. And so if I don't like what's going on in my out world right now, if I don't like the way my finances is, my health, my relationships, my family, whatever dynamics of my life that I'm not happy with, I have a direct indication to go within and make some changes so that I can change the outward appearance. But what happens is, a lot of times, because we have no control over our 5 senses, sometimes the things that we see with our 5 senses will begin to hoodwink and bamboozle us and corrupt us to allow us to think things or to grab a hold of things and to embrace things that are really not reality, that are really not true. And so what happens is, that's how we begin to start facing limitations in life, because we have not learned how to block out the 5 senses. And when I say the 5 senses, I mean on the physical plane, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But in order for me to master my resurrection, in order for me to embrace it and to really resurrect, I have to be able to relieve myself and separate myself from the physical ramifications of my five senses. Now, in order to do that, I want to give you kind of a blueprint on how we can kind of tap into that, because I believe that everything in life is twofold. There's a public and a private side, right? There is a physical and a spiritual side. Everything has two sides. There's two sides to every coin. And so I want to tap in real quickly because we're not even into the lesson yet. This is kind of the pregame. I want to kind of tap in a little bit into what these five senses look like on a spiritual connotation, because once we are able to define and begin to embrace how to block out the five senses, guess what? We can go ahead and break the walls of limitations, because many of you sitting right here may be having so many limitations in your life, so many things that you feel are blocking you, so many things that you feel are in your way, not knowing that the reason why those things that you think are in your way, those things that you think are blocking you, is merely because you have not learned how to block out, how to shut off the five senses. The spiritual meaning of the five senses encompasses a deep understanding of how we perceive and interact with the world around us on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level. Each of the five senses holds a symbolic significance and offers a gateway into a greater awareness and connection with the divine. When we look at sight, I've often been taught, and I used to teach a lot of this in Vegas. I haven't really taught a lot of this now, but I will start to teach this. But I used to teach all the time in Vegas. The best way to see is with your eyes closed. And people would say, well, what do you mean by that? I would say, yes, the best way to see is with your eyes closed, because when you see with your eyes closed, you're not going to be deceived by what you see with the physical eye, but you're going to start looking with the mind's eye. See, you can be deceived by what you see. Listen, they said the best way to hide something from somebody is to put it right in front of them. I don't know if you ever heard that. They always say the best place to hide something from somebody is right in front of them, because they would never imagine that the thing you're trying to hide, you would put it in front of them. It's almost like they can't even perceive that, right? We are living in a world where everybody is connected to sight. What we see on Facebook, what we see on Instagram, what we see on TikTok. We go by what we see. We go by what looks good, what looks attractive, what looks good, what looks delicious. We go by what looks fine, what looks ugly, what looks poor, what looks rich, what looks healthy, we go by the looks. And what happens is, a lot of times when you go by the looks and you actually go all the way in, you realize, wait a minute, what I saw is not really what is. And I'm pretty sure many of you that are listening to this, when it comes to relationships, you see the person, the man that was nice and handsome and had the nice six-pack, and all of a sudden when you got and connected with him, you realize that he really wasn't what you thought he was. He looked it nice and he looked it good and he looked it handsome. But then when you realize what came behind the look, you realize that what came behind the look and what was the look was something that was sort of a paradox. So now we are confused. If I put a salt shaker in front of you, how do you know it's salt? It could be sugar. Salt and sugar look the same. So we can't really always go by sight with the physical ramifications, but we want to always look with our mental eye, with the mind's eye. Sight represents vision, clarity, perception. And in the spiritual context, the sense of sight goes beyond physical observation, and it allows us to see the truth beyond our appearances. It symbolizes insight, intuition, and the ability to perceive hidden beauty and wisdom in all things. Now, those of you that have been following us on this series in the earlier levels of mental ascension, we talked about the intuition and intuitiveness, right? And that's one of the ways of how you see. See, when you see with the mind's eye is not a physical ramification. It's an indwelling. It's a spiritual connotation. So if you are looking with the mind's eye, you're getting insight and you're operating from your intuition, which means that you would have automatically picked up that, yeah, that guy looks good and he's handsome and he has a six-pack, or that woman is beautiful. She has long hair and a nice figure and all of those things. But by you looking at it from your mind's eye, you would have picked up and noticed that, hey, everything may not be everything that you think it is. You know, there's some things behind the scenes that maybe need to be looked at before we are under the impression that this is something that's just wonderful and something that's just overwhelmingly just perfect. When we look at hearing symbolizes learning, understanding, and communication. Spirituality, when we tap into the spirituality of it, hearing enables us to tuning to the subtle vibrations of the universe, to hear the whispers of your inner guidance. He that has an ear, let him hear, not the physical ear, but the spiritual ear, that you can hear the whispers of your inner guidance, that intuition, and connect with the cosmic symphony of life. It represents receptivity and the capacity to listen to the messages of your soul and the voices of spirit. So when we look at it from the hearing dynamic, now when we move into taste signifies your nourishment, your discernment, and your pleasure. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good, right? But taste. Oh, I had a meal last night and it was wonderful. Oh, I had the catfish with the mac and cheese, with the collard greens. You know, I went to a seafood boil and they had crab legs with the potatoes and corn. They had the shrimp. You know, we understand the taste. But you have to understand everything that tastes good is not necessarily good. Spirituality says the sense of taste goes beyond the physical sensation of flavors and textures, but it invites us into the savor of the sweetness of life, to discern between what is nourishing for our souls and what's not, and to experience the richness of a divine blessing in every moment. Listen, when you tap into the spiritual ramifications of your taste, you're no longer worrying about the physical taste of things, but how does things taste that will begin to, the nourishment of my soul, what's good for my soul, my mind, my spirit, what's good for me psychologically, what's good for me mentally. Oh, taste and see. And so we understand and look at it from that perception. When we get into touch embodies connection, sensation, empathy, spirituality of touch tells us that the sense of touch always allows us to feel the interconnectedness of all things, to experience compassion and love through physical contact, and to sense the energy and vibrations that flow through us and around us. It symbolizes healing, comfort, and the power of human connection. It's not about the physical touch, but it's more of a spiritual or more of a emotional touch, more of a connecting to being connected to the universal power, to the divine mind. It's nothing like being in sync. I don't never want to be outside of the will. I don't never want to be outside or be broken or disconnected from source. I've always want to be in touch, in connection, in harmony, in balance. When we look at smell represents the intuition, memory, spiritual discernment. Spirituality, I would say the sense of smell would enable us to perceive subtle energies, to invoke memories, emotions through scent, right? To connect with the spiritual realm through the fragrance of sacred incense or offerings, right? It would also symbolize the purification, clarity, and the ability to discern spiritual essence of all things. Something smells pleasant. Sometimes you could smell something. I don't know if you guys have ever used eucalyptus or ever begin to burn sage or begin to frankincense and myrrh, any of those things, or candles. It's something about a smell that can lift and elevate the room and elevate the presence of what's going on at that time. And so when we look at the smell from a spiritual atmosphere, it allows us to embrace through the spiritual realms the fragrance of the sacred incense of offerings, of being able to purify and clarify what it is that we are taking. Listen, once you are able to block out your five senses, you will see things transform in a major way, not allowing yourself to be caught up into anything. Because your five senses are what will allow you to be caught in limitations. Now, real quickly, I just want to step into this and step out. In the Bible, I believe it was, I can't think of the scripture right now. It was the man at the pool of Bethesda. I think it was John 5. It was the man at the pool of Bethesda, and this man had been sick for 38 years. There was a yearly, or there was this big time ritual that every year the spirit would come down and trouble the water, and whoever stepped in the water would be healed. And there was an impotent man who was laying on this bed, and he said, I have nobody to help me get in the water. Now, what's very interesting about it is when you read the scripture, it describes at the pool of Bethesda, there were 5 porches. Those 5 porches represented the 5 senses, which means that every one of those people that were impotent and that were sick and unhealthy were all in the position they were in because of them not being able to master or block out their 5 senses. What Jesus does is Jesus comes and he begins to teach the man how to disconnect from the 5 senses. And so what happened was the bed that he was laying on, he's now carrying it. The things that he thought he couldn't do, he now realized he could do. Why? Because Jesus was allowed him and showed him how to block out the 5 senses. And I would love to really get into that on a deep dive, but we have to do that on another day in another way. In the realm of the mystical and metaphysical, let us unravel the tapestry of level 5. In the sacred language of wisdom, level 5 is a symbol of divine change and transformative power. It is, in its essence lies the essence of mental alchemy, the art of transmuting the lead of the mind into the gold of enlightenment. To be enlightened, which means to be brought out of darkness into the light. See, the reason why we got to go every week and we got to go step by step is because we can't turn on the light all the way. Anybody that's ever been in darkness and somebody walks in the room and turn on the light and you kind of cover your eyes because too much light will blind you. You've been in darkness for so long that once the light comes on, you got to put your hand up and say, "Hey, man, turn the light off," because you kind of got to get eased into it. You got to kind of get eased into coming into the light. Too much light can blind you, and so as we are mental alchemists, we're learning how to do this. We're taking it step by step. As the alchemists of the mind, we are called to decipher the cryptic messages that are woven within the fabric of level 5. It beckons us to embrace the winds of change and welcome the unknown with open arms. When you start to block out your 5 senses, you start to really connect with who you are because there's no outside interference. It's not about what I watch, what I see, what I heard, because we're blocking that out. I would love everybody who's listening to me, maybe for about 10 to 20 minutes every day for the next week, if you could find time to just sit in a quiet place and block out your five senses. Don't allow yourself to do anything. Don't allow yourself to connect with what's going on outside of you, what's coming on TV, what new movies is on Netflix, what new movies is on Tubi, what's going on HBO, what's going on in the world, what happened on YouTube, what happened on Instagram. Block yourself out from that. Block yourself out for what's going on in the house, what's going on in your family, what's going on in your job. If you can master 10 to 20 minutes every day to just block out and block out your five senses for that period of time, and watch how you will begin to realize with clarity, with a clear conscience, the powers that you entail when you realize that once you block those things out, how things begin to happen to you, and things begin to start to manifest as you unclutter your thoughts. Because it's something about when you are able to block out your five senses, you can really elevate your level of consciousness now. Because remember, you're no longer being affected by what's going on outside of you. You're not going on what's on CNN. You're not going on what's on the news. You're not going on what's on what's been reported on TMZ. But you are going by what's going on me, myself, and I. Just as the alchemist blends elements to create elixirs of transformation, so must we blend our experiences and knowledge to ascend to a higher realm of consciousness. Level 5 serves as our guiding star, illuminating the path towards mental ascension and spiritual enlightenment. In sacred geometry of the universe, level 5 stands as a symbol of balance and harmony, right? It resonates with the 5 elements of creation, inviting us to harmonize our thoughts, emotions, and actions, and to achieve an inner equilibrium. Through this harmonization, we unlock the gates to mental ascension, transcending the limitations of the mundane world. Level 5 allows you to not be moved and swayed by things that are outside of you, but you're actually breaking the walls of limitation. You know, somebody could be listening now and says, you know what, I didn't think that I can do this. I didn't think that my life would ever come to this. I didn't think that I could experience what I wanted to experience in life because of all these so-called limitations that we have in our minds. But at level 5, we get to this place where we're actually able to block out what's happening on the outside. And if you can block out the outside, then you can really step into a level of mastery, because you're not allowing what's going on outside of yourself to dictate to you. You're not allowing those things to interfere with you, to make you scared, to bring fear. You're not allowing those things to paralyze you in fear so that you can't move and go as you want to. But what it does is it allows you to expand your territory, to open yourselves up, to really expand and move in a greater way. As you delve deeper into the mysteries of the mind, remember that level 5 is a key to unlock the gates, is another key that will unlock the gates to this level of mental ascension. Embrace its wisdom and its teachings, and watch as your consciousness expands like the petals of a blooming lotus, reaching towards the infinite skies of enlightenment. Level 5 carries with it a tapestry of spiritual characteristics that resonate deeply within the essence of human experience. I want to look at some of the attributes of level 5. Level 5 gives you the ability for adaptability. Adaptability, what it does is it allows you to embrace change, to navigate through things. See, when you're breaking down the walls of limitation, you're going to have a lot of debris. You're going to have a lot of a lot of things, concepts, beliefs, different things that you thought was the be all do all, only to realize they were figment of your imagination. So when you're breaking down the walls of limitation, there's going to be some debris. There's going to be some spiritual debris, some emotional debris. There's going to be some debris there. So we have to learn how to adapt. We got to learn how to embrace change, how to navigate through the broken walls, and how to flow with the rhythm of life's ebbs and flows. The next thing that level 5 gives us is ability of freedom, right? It represents liberation from limitations. When you break the walls of limitations, or when you break the chains that bind your soul, or the pursuit of personal and spiritual freedom, what happens is it's almost like a weight falls off your shoulders. Have you ever, I don't know how many people in here have ever had a grudge or was holding a grudge against somebody, and when you forgave that person, when you realize that, you know what, I'm going to be a bigger person, I'm not going to hold a grudge, I'm going to forgive that person, whether you let that person know or not, you were the one holding on to it. But when you let that thing go, it almost felt like 30, 40, 50 pounds was lifted off of you, because you felt free. You felt like you were able to move. And it's amazing how something of an intangible realm held so much weight. Could you imagine all of the things that we have, all of the mental limitations that we have in our mind? And as we're able to break the walls of limitation and break the chains that bind our souls, that we can actually lift that weight off of us and be able to experience a new level of freedom. I just think that's amazing. Curiosity. The number 5 embodies the spirit of curiosity, right? It inspires seekers to venture into the unknown territories, to expand their consciousness. See, when you block out your 5 senses, you start to go really within yourself. You start to really look at the real concept of really going into the unknown territories, how to expand my level of consciousness, how to raise my level of who I am, how to really tap into my level of happiness, my level of joy, my level of fulfillment, and how to really, but at level 5, curiosity is one of the things that we embrace in this level, and curiosity is something that we need. Don't be afraid of curiosity. Don't try to block it. You know, I tell people all the time, the desires that we have inside of us were given to us for a reason. Never let your desires make you feel or make you feel ashamed, or that you don't, or you feel like something is wrong with you because you have desires. Desires are what are given to you for many different reasons. And so those desires were given to you to help you to experience life and begin to enjoy and begin to create the life that you wanted to live. You have a desire to be in a relationship. You have a desire to work. You have a desire to create your own business. You have a desire to travel. All these desires you have are for reasons. And that curiosity that we have within us, that curiosity is what gives us the ability to really tap into and go to a deeper level of ourselves. Also on level 5, we begin to tap into an adventure. And the reason why we look at an adventure is because I believe that on a spiritual level, we go through this spiritual journey of self-discovery, right? Growth, evolution, and encourages us to step out of our comfort zone and embrace new experiences, right? When you're at level 5, don't be afraid to do things that maybe you're afraid to do. Because once again, you're not going to be afraid anymore because of the outside influences. When you block out the 5 senses, that's what would give you the ability to be ashamed. That's what would give you the ability to be to make you feel uncomfortable, because you're worried about who's seeing you. You're worried about what other people are going to say. When you block out the 5 senses, you block all of that away. You're not worried about anything like that at all. You're only worried about you, yourself, me, myself, and I. Progression is another level of another thing that we embrace on level 5, because what happens is it signifies forward movement. growth. It allows us to embrace the change, striving for personal development, and at the core of our characteristics. I want to be the best version of myself. I want to be moving. I want to be elevating. I don't want to stay stuck. I don't want to be in the same position that I am now than I was last year and that I was 2 years ago. I want to keep moving. I want to progress. And so the way that I progress is by growing spiritually, by growing emotionally, by growing psychologically, by expanding my mind. Once my mind expands, it can never go back to its original size. The next thing we grab at level 5 is balance, right? It is allowing us to find balance between our mind, body, and spirit, the equilibrium in all dimensions of life. I don't want to be too heavenly minded that I'm no earthly good. I don't want to be too earthly minded that I'm no heavenly good. I want to have balance. I want to have balance. And always remember, inside out, the secret in life is to always go within. So the balance, anytime you're off balance, you know you go back in. Because once you go in, you're able to balance the scales. Another thing that we get at level 5 is the sensory experience. So being that 5 represents the 5 senses, it gives us the ability to engage in our sensory experiences, as we talked earlier about our 5 senses, and then we took a look at them from a spiritual connotation. And so we are able to block out those 5 senses, but those sensory experiences, the sensory experiences are what allow us to really become masters of our own reality. Because if I can block out what I hear, what I see, what I taste, I'm telling you, the best way to see is with your eyes closed. With your eyes closed. I want to be able to see with my mind's eye. I want to be able to see with my mind's eye, with my third eye. And you notice that if you ever notice somebody who, I have a real personal good friend of mine, Pastor John Tillery. He's a pastor of Free Worship Ministries in Washington, I believe in Maryland. It's in the DMV, but I believe he's in Maryland. And he lost his sight. He's like legally blind. But what happens is he's although he's not able to see, it sharpened his other senses. It sharpened his hearing, his speaking, his touch, his smell. It sharpened all of the other senses. So the senses are very important. You know, even growing up in Vegas, one of my mentors, William Shaw Bey, he also lost his sight, but he was sharp. And I mean, the way that his mind operated was unbelievable. That's another thing, too, that I wanted to say. I've noticed that the people who are close to me who have physically lost their sight, their mental capacity is unbelievable. So this guy that I'm telling you about, Pastor Tillery, man, his mind is unbelievable. The things that he comes up with, the concepts, the new creations, the thoughts, the new projects, the entrepreneurial things that he comes up with, the ideas that he comes up with is unbelievable. But that sharpness comes with the ability of losing one thing, but his senses begin to become stronger, and his mental capacity was unbelievable. Another thing we get from level 5 is communication. Communication is definitely the spiritual characteristic of level 5. But I want to tell you this: communication is not how well you speak. Communication is how well you are understood. It's never about how well you speak, it's how well you're understood. If somebody's communicating with you and talking to you and you don't understand them, they're not a good communicator. Because in communication, your goal is to be able to communicate to somebody that they can understand what you're saying at a profound level. And so being able to have a clear expression, active listening, open dialogue, even in your spiritual growth and connection with others. Versatility is something that's also very interesting here, because versatility is the key that allows us to adapt to adverse situations, explore different paths, embrace the multiplicity of experiences on the spiritual journey. Because what happens is when you start to block out your five senses, your mind will begin to really start working, and you'll start having ideas and concepts. Remember, when you start closing out your five senses, you're going to break the walls of limitation. There is going to be a lot of debris, because a lot of things that you were holding on to, a lot of things that you thought were limitations in your life, a lot of things that you thought were blocks, a lot of things that you thought were hindrances will begin to disappear, because once you close out your five senses, you realize they were only figments of your imagination. I want to do this real quickly. This is something that was very profound to me. The Hierophant tarot card is what I would connect to the number 5, to level 5 of this mental ascension. And the card automatically represents inner healing to me, right? It automatically, just off the top. The Hierophant crown is a triple crown with a row of 5 trefolds, right? Those 5 trefolds will represent your 5 senses. Once again, mastering or being able to shut out and master your 5 senses. And then then underneath that is a row of 7 trefolds, which represents the 7 chakras. Now, along with the 7 chakras, it can also be said that they can also represent the 7 original planets. And we'll get into that pretty soon, where we start breaking down the chakras and how they relate to us and so forth. If you look at the card, they also have a cross key. The cross key would symbolize the superconsciousness, which is the key to heaven. And then the other key will represent the subconscious mind, which represents the key to earth. As in heaven, so it is on earth. As in earth, so it is in heaven. And then you see the there's 2 robes. There's the robes of 2 kneeling priests. One robe I would call desire, which you see will be the roses. And then there's another robe I would call purified desires, which you would see the lilies on the other side. There are 10 crosses on this card. Now, you would have to go through them. I actually went and counted today. There were 10 crosses on this card. And you would just have to go through and just start marking the crosses. Those 10 crosses represents the spiritual numbers from 1 to 10. But then they also are connected to the 10 aspects of the tree of life. Because at some point, we will get into the teachings of the tree of life. And the tree of life has the 10 aspects that are connected to it. This card is a very interesting card here, which signifies so many different things. But I want you to walk away with the importance today of how important it is to master your 5 senses. If you allow what's going on outside of you to control you and to move you and to get you emotionally and to move you psychologically, it will allow you. This is what I tell people all the time. If you go outside of yourself to connect with something, it has ownership over you. You never want to allow anything outside of you to have ownership over you. So that's why you want to have enough power and enough, I would say, understanding and wisdom of how to shut off and manage your 5 senses. Because if you don't, you will allow things to come into your life that will hinder you, that will stop you, that will paralyze you, that will allow you to be stuck because you didn't allow yourself to master those five senses. You allow things to come by what you saw, what you heard, what you felt, and feeling is so important because I tell people this all the time. Nobody can hurt your feelings without your permission. Nobody can hurt your feelings without your permission. If somebody says, Issachar Bey, you're ugly, and I take that statement and I hold it as being true, and now it gets me upset, now it gets me mad, because I basically have took and accepted what that person said as being true. And so I gave them permission by accepting it, because that person could have said anything about me and I don't have to accept it. Being able to control what goes on the outside, the outside. Because now if I take that statement and I believe it to be true, it changes the dynamic of everything. Because now if I believe that I'm ugly, now I don't feel as confident about myself. Now I don't think that I'm, I lose superiority. I become inferior. I'm very, I'm mentally broken. I'm not mentally focused. I'm not allowing myself to walk in my purpose, and so many things happen from that one thing. So you see how, because a person told me you're ugly, I took that from the outside realm and brought it in, and now believed it to be true, and now it has created a wall of limitation. Because as long as I believe that I'm ugly, that's a limitation. Because I don't believe I can do everything. Every time I get ready to do something, every time I get ready to stand in front of some people, every time I get ready to do this call on Sunday, I would say to myself, nobody's going to listen to me because they said that I'm ugly. Nobody's going to want to hear me. And this is all a figment of my imagination. Because once I'm able to block out once I'm able to block out my five senses, I don't care what anybody says about me or doesn't say about me. It allows me to have power over that and to not allow that to enter in. You never want the water from the ocean to get in the boat. As long as you can keep the water in the ocean, don't allow it to get in your boat. Because if it gets in the boat, it will pull the boat down. So you want to make sure that you don't allow that. I don't want to allow anything from the outside to come on the inside. And I'm telling you, this is the secret to life. This is the secret. So I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I hope that you got something out of this level 5. Level 5, we're dealing with Mercury. Level 5. Mercury is about communication. Mercury is about travel. Many of you want to travel. I would block out my five senses, and I'll begin to meditate and see myself traveling, going to and fro, making things happen, being in the right place at the right time, being able to connect. A lot of you need to tap into your intuition as well, because what happens, like what happened the other day when supposedly AT&T was under a cyber attack. So everybody that had AT&T had no access to the phone. So it was just like in the movie, Leave the World Behind. The whole world was in an uproar because their phones were off. So the phones are off is not the end of the world. I can still create. I can still do things. I can still live. I can still maneuver and do things that I need to do. So we have to be aware and be connected to source, to divine mind, so that we are in the right place at the right time, knowing the right things to do, and not allow ourselves to get caught up in those things. So I just think that we are in a good place. I think that we are in a place of great continuity, and that I think that as we evolve and grow and expand our minds, we'll see things really transcend to another level. This level 5 allows us to embrace change. What kind of change? People ask me all the time, when you say that change is coming, is it a good change or a bad change? I'll tell you this. I don't believe in good change or bad change. I just don't. The only thing I believe in is that change is inevitable. You cannot stop change. How you react to change will determine whether it's good or bad. I can't stop tomorrow from coming. I can't stop next week from coming. I can't stop 15 minutes from now from coming. But what I can do is the way that I react to those changes will determine whether the change is good or bad. And so with everything in life, you have to look at it from that perspective. Yes, change is going to come. There's going to be some great changes in life. Yes. Okay, I woke up this morning and we're under a cyber attack. So nobody's able to use their phones. Nobody's able to use the internet. Nobody's able to watch TV. Okay, so what happens? What happens is I begin to tap in and I begin to look at how am I going to embrace this change that's happening. This is something that's outside of my control. I can get all upset, get crazy, get flustered, get emotional, or I can tap into source and begin to maneuver and create other avenues or other ways of how we can proceed and navigate. That's why this level was so important. Remember what we talked about earlier? I told you some of the attributes of level 5 were the ability to the adaptability, right? We talked about the also progression. We talked about versatility, being able to embrace the ability to explore different paths and embrace the multiplicity of experiences. Whenever you start going in life, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I told them that I don't want to live a reactionary life. What that means is that people who just live life and whatever happens, they react. I don't want to live a reactionary life. I want to live the kind of life where I dictate to life. Life now reacts to me. That's the kind of life I want to live. I want to live the life that life reacts to me, and I no longer react to life. I don't wake up every day and be like, okay, what's going to happen today? And so I'm going to react to what happens that day. No, I'm going to create my own reality, and life is going to react to how my reality is created. I'm a mental alchemist. I know how to turn lead into gold. I know how to transform my mental capacities and begin to manifest my dreams and goals and bring them from the intangible realm to the physical realm. I want to tell everybody too, was talking to some people today, make sure everybody that's listening, make sure you have your passport. If you don't have your passport, go get your passport. Make sure you have a passport. Believe it or not, your driver's license, even though they talk about the ID card, the RD. If you have a license, they would talk about the ID card, which has the 5 stars on it. Don't worry about your license. You have to have a license to drive, yes. Make sure you have a passport. And what I will also say to everybody is make sure that you take care of your credit. I may put in the description, I offer a cheat sheet, a credit cheat sheet, those of you that may have some stuff with credit. And then I also offer a letter. I have a whole bunch of letters, but I have a letter, which is a personal information letter. You'd be surprised at how many of you don't even know that you have wrong addresses, wrong names, wrong telephone numbers, wrong email addresses, wrong items on your personal credit report that you don't even know about. And I don't know why I'm going into this because this has nothing to do with level 5, but I guess somebody needs to hear this. Um, but I am telling you that I want everybody to go get their passport. Make sure you have a passport. Even if you don't, even if you're not trying to travel or go nowhere, you can go to the post office, get an application. You're going to fill it out. You're going to take your birth certificate. You need the birth certificate. So if you don't have your birth certificate, go order your birth certificate from Vital Statistics. You go to Vital Statistics. I think a birth certificate is like $15, $20. You go order your birth certificate, and you're going to go ahead and get your passport. Get you a passport, and let's start working on that credit. There's some things coming down. There's some things coming in the pipeline that's getting ready to happen. And I want to make sure that we all are in the right place at the right time, and that we are already in position to reap the benefits and also not be bothered or be affected by some of the things that may take place. Why? Because we were able to reposition ourselves because of knowledge, of wisdom, of understanding. So I just want to make sure that you guys are in the right place. So I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Listen, this has been a great lesson today. I hope that you guys got something out of it. I hope that you really, really were able to take this and really work with it this week. If you're listening to this and you say to yourself, this is really good, I know family members, friends, somebody who needs to hear this, go ahead and copy the link and share it to 5 of your friends. Let them know about this every Sunday. Let them know, hey, listen, this guy's dropping some really good stuff. I think you need to hear it. I think it will definitely be beneficial to you. And you know, begin to share that. So I want to thank all of you for tuning in. We practice our circulation, what we call circulation. Our circulation is where we send we begin to sow into this ministry. We begin to sow and donate into this organization. Those of you that want to donate, that want to sow a seed into this ministry, we are asking for $26. Some of you may have $26. Some of you may have more than $26. Some of you have been sowing more than $26. Somebody might say today, I don't have $26. Well, whatever your best seed is, whatever your best offering is, if you feel like, listen, man, I really got a lot out of this. This has really been a blessing to me, and you want to sow or you want to donate, feel free to donate whatever it is that you want. I wanted to also let you guys know that we are forever grateful for your donations, and that they will always and forever, we will always and forever be grateful. There's 3 ways that you can give. The first way is Cash App. Our Cash App is going to be $TOESC. TOESC. All of these are also in the description of this video, so you can also check down there. But it's going to be in the description. $TOESC. We also have We also have PayPal and Zelle. PayPal and Zelle are going to be info at toesc.org. So it's going to be info at toesc.org. That's info at toesc.org. That's for Zelle, and that's for PayPal. And then also we have Venmo. Venmo, those of you that want to use Venmo, our Venmo is going to be Issachar Bey at gmail.com. So that's going to be ISSACHARBEY at gmail.com. That's for Venmo. If those of you want to use Venmo, we appreciate it. Some of you may want to reach out with me and schedule a consultation. I am available. And so we are definitely available. I have a new podcast that's going to be released pretty soon. I started another organization called the Astrological Commission. And it's an organization where you will really see me really connecting with a lot of the world's greatest or the world's most profound astrologers all over the world, from overseas to the United States, some in Greece, some in Brazil, some in Argentina, all over the world, some in Hungary and Turkey. So you really see me connected with that. And also, we got a lot of things in the pipelines coming down. We got a couple of books we're working on. So we've been busy. We've been busy. And so I just want to constantly thank you for your support, and realize that life is what you make it. I want to see us get out of the audience and get on stage. Life is about you serving humanity with your gifts and your talents. What gifts and talents do you possess? And so I think that this world that we are moving into, it's a good time to position yourself. But remember, everything happens from within. Your positioning is not on the outside. Your positioning is on the inside. Your mind is everything. Anybody here that's in a relationship, anybody here that's in a partnership, you're not in a partnership with the outside person or the physical ramifications of that person. You're in business with their mindset. I always tell people, when you are talking about a man and a woman, remove the word man and the word woman and put mind, because all you are connected with is a mind. How this person thinks, how they operate, what their beliefs are. That's why we're going through these 9 levels of mental ascension, so that we can actually get ourselves a position where we can understand the aspects of our mind and what we need to do. And so I just think that it's a great opportunity. Like I said, I want to thank all of you for being for your attendance, for your presence, your support every week. We seem to be growing. We seem to be getting more people every week, more people listening. I'm getting more emails, people reaching out to me. So I love it. I love doing this all the time. I love being able to teach and being able to provide you guys with some kind of knowledge or wisdom, something that you can take back and that you can go into a deeper dive with, some things that you can really tap into and really look into. So I just wanted to give that to you today, and thank you for tuning in. I want to also say, I want to make sure that we know where we are and where we're going. And that's why you see me opening or offering the opportunity to sit down with me. I want to make sure that you know where you are and where you're going. So we are excited about your future. We're excited about what's coming. And I believe that what's coming is better than what's been. I want to say this to everybody. Your destiny is not a matter of chance, but it's a matter of choice. I want to let you guys know that I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.